All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys hear me clearly. This is Chris Classic dropping a new episode of the Take It Home podcast. Make sure if you have not, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Take It Home podcast. Also, make sure you subscribe to C3 Ultimate Wrestling on YouTube as well. Check out our website, www.c3ultimatewrestling.com. With everything that's going on with the world, y'all just want to say that I love y'all. I care about y'all. Remember, God loves you. Christ loves you as well. There's a lot of stuff that I actually wanted to talk to about that in like my Facebook post or whatever like that, but I haven't found the right words. So with everything going on, let's just have some fun today. All right. Let's go in to my promo gag. You guys know that I do it. So today it's no different. 2 days away. We are 2 days away from a May to remember. We are 2 days away. We are at Appleton, Wisconsin. There's also a flea market that's a couple hours before the show. If you guys are out in that area, you guys should check it out. The flea market is from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Doors open at 4 for the show, and the show starts at 5. You guys do not want to miss this event. Tickets are selling out super duper fast, like really, really fast. And I couldn't be more proud to be a part of a great wrestling company that has a lot of family friendly entertainment, funny things, comedy, serious, everything that works so hard. So I am glad that I'm a part of the company with them. Shout out to everybody that's coming into the chat, that's coming into the viewing of the channel. Appreciate that. Also, get ready, C3. We are back. We are C3, June 18th, Kingdom Come, Gene Shepherd Community Center. Doors open 12:30, showtime 1 o'clock. Tickets are only 10 for adults and only 5 for kids. You can get tickets 2 ways. You can go to the show, and at the show, there'll still be 10 for adults and 5 for kids. Or you could go to www.paypal.me/IamClassic for tickets. Now, there's no this difference between the ticket sales. So if you want to save and wait until the show, you can just buy them at the door. It's no problem. No hassle. No haggle. All right, going back into Kingdom Come, rundown of the matches. As we're getting closer, we're going to do more things and go into more detail about the matches. All right, we have Aaron Stone versus Jackson P. Larkin for the C3 Urban Culture Championship. We also have Mystery Tag Team against Legit for the C3 Tag titles. We also have Cassidy Key versus Classic Alpha, myself. 2 big men getting ready to throw down. Going to be a great one. We have Marcelo Spade versus Mike Valentine. It's a one-on-one action. We also have a triple threat, and there's some news about the women's triple threat will be discussed tomorrow. It'll be an announcement tomorrow for the women's triple threat. So you guys, if you haven't, make sure you follow the C3 Ultimate Wrestling page on Facebook to get the up-to-date details of the show. The main event is Miles Mercer, the C3 Wrestling Champion, versus Just Amazing. One-on-one action for the title. We will see what happens. This will be very interesting. Show is hosted by none other than Kevin Young Sr., CEO of the Yellow Pill Coffee Company. He should have merch. If you guys are interested. Good merch. You should also subscribe to his YouTube page. When you see this logo, it's all him. Shout out to him. Going back into the socials, if you have not, you can follow me on Twitter, NatureBoy1989. You can also send me a request, Chris Classic Wheels on Facebook, and then the PayPal for the tickets. All right, let's get into it. This was an interesting topic that I wanted to talk to for a while. I just wanted a certain way to go about it. I didn't know how to go about it or whatever like that because, I'm very critical on like the state of wrestling and stuff like that. Some things are good, some things are bad, and I think that some things do need to be discussed. Now, this is something that I'm just realizing that only a few people talk about. And me growing up, there was always a big guy or big men or whatever like that. Usually they were heels. and what they were used for. They were used to help somebody elevate to the next level, or they were main eventers themselves, or they were doing something to make people scared of them, fearful of them, or even the competitors that they're going to. You know, we're going straight storyline. We're going into legitimacy. We're going to psychology and stuff like that. And with the state of the big men in the current era, I'm not saying I don't see it. I just see that some are probably falling back because they may not like what's going on with the current state of wrestling and how big men are treated. And it's not just at one company, it's also at the other company, and it's also on the independents and stuff like that. Me, I'm 6'1", 280 pounds. I got a cold. And I'm most of the time now, when I go to a locker room, I'm like the biggest guy there, if that makes sense. You get what I'm saying? And my thing is, a big thing I had trouble with when I first started was protecting my size. So that's going to also be like a key thing that I want to talk about today is protecting the size. But when I first started, there were a lot of guys that were taller than me, bigger than me, stronger than me. There was a lot of guys, and they still have some guys like that or whatever like that. But then when you look at the product of wrestling on the main level and also the independent level, you see like how some of them get pimped out, if you will. You know, everybody talks about Hulk Hogan, but want a Hulk Hogan moment. They always want to body slam a big guy. They always want to do something or make the big guy bump a lot. And that's just some things that don't really need to happen all the time or at every match. You get what I'm saying? And that's how I feel as far as the big men. Like, big men, and I consider myself one because of the current state of everything, and I'm almost 300 pounds. I've got a cold or something. Hoping it ain't that monkeypox. But anyway, I'm considered more of a bigger guy. So my thing is, when I go over matches, I always try to have psychology. It's like one of the number one things outside of safety and obviously it making sense. So I can see why some people are very selective on where they get booked at and stuff, because sometimes people just look at your size and be like, you know what? Somebody's going to slam you. It's going to be awesome and stuff like that. And instead of actually working into that or possibly working into that, if you're a big guy, you don't have to bump for everything. You have to sell your size as well. You don't have to bump for everything. So I was watching NXT. I believe the guy's name is Quincy Elliott, I believe. He's a big guy and he bumps a lot. And, you know, I'm not blaming him at all. He's doing what they're telling him to do and they're producing him to do, to be body slammed, to be picked up, to bump off of one clothesline and stuff like that. It's all about moments and stuff like that. But if you're doing this already, or if you're continuing to do that, what makes you scary, if that makes sense? What makes you more well-grounded? What makes you more powerful as a wrestler, a performer? See, the issue with wrestling now, shout out to Jamie, the issue with wrestling now is that everybody is trying to match each other. You get what I'm saying? I got to match your moves because you do 25 moves. So now I got to do 26. Oh, now we got to do 27. I got to match you. And it doesn't matter if the person is small or if the person is big. It's just like when two people, or even if it's a tag team, everybody want to go tit for tat. And you don't need that in wrestling. That's not valuable psychology in every match you do. I understand. Everybody wants to have match of the night. Everybody wants the "this is awesome" chant. Everybody wants to sell merch at the end of the day. Everybody wants to continue to be booked. I understand all of that. But when you do everything that what everyone else is doing, what does that do for you at the end of the day? Now, as a big guy, there are things that we can do, and there are things that we shouldn't do. And then there are things that we can do. Many people can do it all, but you shouldn't have to. You don't have to do it all. Your body could be the story. Your body could be the obstacle going against somebody. There's no way this person can knock me down. There's no way this person can take me out. And when that happens, or if that happens, it is very special. The first time I wrestled Atlas, it was at a show in Woodstock. I had a whole bunch of ideas on what I wanted to do. Y'all want to know what I did in that match? Nothing. I didn't do none of the moves that I wanted to do. First of all, Atlas is a certified vet. So You should listen to your vets because there was a reason for that. And I understood that now. I understood it years ago. But back then I was so upset because I was like, I was so used to wrestling being a certain way. So we got to trade stuff. But no, it was something that needed to be done, something he was in the middle of. So me, I was the stepping stone, not even a stepping stone, but I was something that was needed for, not for him exactly, but for the storyline. You get what I'm saying? Things to build people up and all of that, but he didn't need to build. I'm being humble, if you get what I'm saying. But this kind of stuff happens. And I think nowadays with even like the bigger guys, you see a lot of the bigger guys, they're doing what the smaller guys are doing. They're outrunning them. They're out diving them. They're hurricanranas, lucha passes, head scissors. They're doing a lot of stuff. And to me, it's just like, you don't have to do all of this stuff. And I understand a lot of people, the biggest misconception is that it's boring to work a big guy, a big style. That's a lie. You just have to figure out how to work it yourself, how you make it yourself. How can you do what's best, if that makes sense? What can you do to have fun? Doesn't mean that you have to do everything that everybody's doing. You know, you look at Brian Cage, right? You see that this guy's like a jacked up guy, but then like you see him doing these crazy dives and you see him doing this lucha stuff and things like that, stuff that he does not need to do. And the people would think, well, dang, he should be farther than where he is. And I think he's at a decent spot. A lot of people know who he is. You know, he wrestled for AEW. I heard he signed a new contract. But at the same time, look at the believability in it. You know, even going against women and bumping for these women. Like, you're way bigger than these women and you're bumping for them. You're getting pinned by them and stuff like that. That kind of stuff matters because it builds up to your size and stuff like that. And I'm not sitting here saying that a big man can't flip or do anything. I mean, look at Vader, right? Vader was doing moonsaults. And one thing I will say about Vader's moonsaults, though, I will say that he tried to be as safe as he could with those moonsaults. If anything, he felt some of the brunt in his legs the way he used to come off the top rope or second rope at times to do the moonsault and stuff like that. So you do have big guys that do other things and things like that. Bam Bam Bigelow was an agile big guy too. I don't have a picture of him, unfortunately, because I was trying to hurry up and get it together. Now, Samoa Joe, a big guy, usually at the 280-pound range or whatever. Well, I'm at, but he does a lot of things. He does a lot of kicks, brawl, technical. He can do a dive out. He can do a lot of stuff. He's still one of my favorite wrestlers, by the way. But he's just one of those guys that's like a legit badass in what he does. And he moves his size and he uses his size as well. It's not like, oh, okay, I'm not going to use my size. I'm going to show what I can do and things like that. And that's it. But no, this is a legit guy who uses his size and stuff like that. You have people that do different things and things like that. You know, who is this? Big Cat. He was 6'9", and he became a prominent heel to some of the best wrestlers of all time. And some people consider him one of the best wrestlers of all time. Even with the racial tension and stuff like that, he used it to his advantage, to the point that he would have to hurry up and go home because he was worried they was trying to get him after the show because of his skin color. But he knew what to do. He knew what to say, whether he had a hat or a crown on his head. Y'all should look up some stuff from him. There's I believe there's a lot of matches on YouTube. I enjoyed this match with Bruno Sammartino. But you know, you think of big guys like Andre. Before wrestling got painful for his body, if you look at all of the stuff when he was younger, this man was an agile athlete. This guy was cold. This dude was doing moves people can't even do now to this day. And he did a great job with it. You get what I'm saying? He was a great athlete. And then even when he started, when it started being painful for him and stuff like that, he slowed down. He watered down. He didn't have to do a lot of stuff because of his height. He was using his size. This is a spectacle. What do you call him? The eighth wonder of the world? Because look how big he was and stuff like that. You don't just walk outside and see guys as big as Andre. So less was more when it mattered. And he didn't have to do that. But what I'm saying is a lot of wrestlers don't have to do that. A lot of big men, exactly, They don't have to do that. Somebody's commenting, so I'm gonna. Camdro says it kills it for the smaller guys that don't do the flashy moves. So yeah. But the thing is though, Camdro, is that I do think that it's also an overhaul of smaller guys doing the same thing too. And we've talked about it a lot on the channel. So it's like when a big man does it, it should be something that is like, wow, this guy can do that. Compared to, oh man, he's doing what the small guy did in the second match and also in the fourth match, and we in the sixth match, and somebody just dove out again. So these are the kind of things that it can be you could slow that stuff down, if that makes sense. You know, when I wrestle, there are some moves that I told myself I'm not going to do unless it's asked of me or if it makes sense, because I already know out the gate that first match may or may not have those moves I have those moves that I don't want to do. But even with Andre, how he worked his side. Yokozuna, one of the biggest and most agile people to look up, to be like, there's no excuse to not work and do what he did. The way his leg drop looked like death, but it was the safest leg drop out there. A lot of people don't realize you have to bend your knee for that leg drop. Some people just go across the chest, or some people just hope they don't hurt somebody. I've seen it. He had the safest, and look how he looked. His leg was just gargantuan. Look how agile he was, running in the ring, super kicks, legit super kicks, like on one leg super kick, like legs still be in the air and you're on the ground and stuff like that. He was a very agile athlete. Shoot, I was like, dang, everybody in this family is agile. You get what I'm saying? A lot of these guys, they worked it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm a big guy, I got to always be slow or methodical or always got to be tired and stuff like that. They figured out, how could we do this better? What can work for us as the big man? Now, this is funny because I don't want to say there's no current, but a lot of these guys that I do have on this list for now, these were guys from yesteryear. K, shout out K. K says there's just a stigma when it comes to big guy wrestling. A lot of big guys think working like a big man means not bumping, and there's so much more to that. And I agree. I agree with that. When we had our match, which I never saw the footage because they stopped making DVDs, after that, I enjoyed it. But the story that we told, and it wasn't that you needed to bump, or big guys need to bump. Sometimes you build up to it. And I'm glad you even spoke on that, because I was going to get to that as well, because there are a lot of the bigger guys, they feel like you can't do this, and you can't do that. And I'm not sitting here saying that you can do everything or they can't do anything, but sometimes it's all about making sense. If you can build up, knocking a big guy down, that is something kids will remember. Kids will enjoy. The fans will enjoy. The spot where you try to clothesline them and then they teeter back. Let me show you real quick before I go back. When teetering back, and then you finally knock them over. People, that goes crazy. Hulk Hogan's body slamming Andre, that people went crazy. Even Bobby Lashley not body slamming, he suplexed Omos. This guy, he suplexed Omos. Those are big things, and people were like impressed. Like, people get impressed with these kind of things. Kendro says visceral also. Yeah, I didn't like I said, I was trying to be on time. Kay says they feel like they have to work slow pace, and it's not just that. You have to tell a story and work that bump, which means something. Exactly. You have to make it special. And with one side, like Kay was saying, some don't want to be a part of that. It takes two to tango, especially if it's a one-on-one. You get what I'm saying? Some people don't want to bump because they do feel like they're selling their size, but sometimes you're overselling your size or whatever like that. I'm not sitting here saying you have to bump for every match. I'm not saying that at all. But when you come into it and being like, you're not bumping and you're not going to a story, like, okay, well, are you in a program to go against the champ or something like that? No, I'm just not bumping. Now that's a problem. You get what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's a problem, to where it was just like you're just selling you to yourself, and you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You know, there's no story behind it or whatever. You just don't feel like bumping, so you're not going to bump. So, who was that? I was on Kamala, right? You know, Kamala, you know, Ugandan Giant. He was a big guy, and he was bumping for a lot of the bigger guys, the Hogans, the Warriors, and stuff like that. Even Andre, and he used to get the short end of the stick of a lot of stuff. If you hear his story before he passed, it's so heartbreaking, especially with his fight with diabetes and stuff like that. How he had horrible hotels treatment compared to Ultimate Warrior and Hogan. Mind you, they were selling out arenas doing the same thing over and over. Excuse me. And he would speak about it and how they like mistreated him and stuff like that. And we know one of the reasons why, but he low-key said that Ultimate Warrior was one of the ones that actually treated him nice. His story with Andre, about how Andre and him got into a fight, and he low-key had his blicky on him under his wrestling gear because he was ready to take Andre out, was hilarious. And Andre didn't mess with him when he pulled it out. When he pulled the blicky, the toolie, he brought the tool out. All right, I'm done with talking about tools. But Kay says, I tell everyone I'll take one bump. They think that means I don't want to work. No, that just means we need to build up to it. And you have to know when to turn the motor up and turn it down to avoid being blown up. And it's like I said, going back to our match, I think you only bumped for a missile drop kick off the top rope. It's been a long time. I remember enjoying the match. I think you bumped, and then it was something with the end. I forgot the finish. And it was good. The crowd loved it. And that's the thing. We have to think about it, guys. We have to work the crowd. We have to bring the crowd into it and stuff like that. If the guy says he's only bumping one time, you got to put it together on how are we going to work this out? How will this work? Going back to other big men, you know, Mr. Henry, you know, one of those guys, world's strongest man, still has records to this day. Shout out, Jay. What's up, Big Jay? Good to see you, man. Mark Henry still doing crazy feats and stuff like that. And then with Mark Henry, he was a good person to be the like gatekeeper of wrestling to the company, especially being fed to Brock and even other wrestlers and stuff like that. I don't have Kane, I don't have Undertaker, but we'll talk about those guys as well in this thing. Albert, aka John Bernard, you know, I felt like he was underutilized with Prince Albert and stuff like that. He went to Japan, made a name for himself as the tag champion, was very dominant there and stuff like that. And then WWE brought him back as Lord Tensai, and he beat John Cena. I think Daniel Bryan too. And you thought that he was going to be the next big thing. And then Tout came out and he was making fun of Asian people and saying some stupid stuff and all that. Now, I'm not saying it's just his fault on why he didn't do what he was supposed to do, but he was one of those guys that being like, okay, well, if you go to New Japan, because that was one of the things back in the day. I don't know if it is now. There's like, if you go to New Japan and you're a big guy, they can also build you up to be an unstoppable monster and stuff. People were expecting Braun to go over there, but Braun decided to control his narrative. Shout out to him, you know. Big Show. I think that's my last slide for big guys for right now. Big Show. He's an agile person. He's done a lot of things in his career, but it was always a big thing when he bumped, when he was slammed. In WCW, it was only a few people who slammed him. Nash, Goldberg, Kurt Hennig perfectplexed him. Sting body slammed him. Shoot, I'm trying to think. It's like only a few people, but the thing was, it was a spectacle to see when a big guy is slammed. And nowadays, everybody is trying to incorporate that into their match. Vader, I got Vader. Atlas, man. I told you I had Vader. I got Vader, man. I had him. We talked about the Vader salt. Shout out to Atlas, man. I hope everything's going great with you, sir. Kay says, guys are always surprised when I tell them I don't really get going until we after 10 minutes in. And we end up going 20 to 30 minutes and I'm not blown up sky high. Because you know how to work. Like people just think like in the spot era, many think that it's all about moves. you got to do this and you got to do that. But my thing was, you got to learn how to work the crowd. You can get the crowd interested in it without even throwing a punch if you know how to do it. The last match I had was 10 minutes long, and we started wrestling at the 5-minute mark. And then at the end of the match, the crowd was into it. And I'm grateful for that, because nowadays the current state, they just want action, 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 and stuff like that. And me even learning now that I'm being a bigger person, a larger person in locker rooms now, I learned quick that I have to sell my size. I would talk to people, F that, I'll slap a rest hold in a heartbeat to bring the crowd where I want them to be. See, that sounds like Atlas. That sounds like an Atlas move, okay? But going back into it, one of the biggest things that I had to learn, and I keep it with me, was that to sell your size. You know, my biggest thing was, and hopefully this helps somebody out, I would oversell, and I would be the bigger person. Like, I'd literally not just feed up. I'd feed up slow as hell, or I'd wait for somebody to pick me up. I'm over that now, thank God. But I used to do that because I'm waiting on them and I'm not doing my thing. And that's why that goes into selling your size. Selling your size, you know, you don't have to wait to the 2 count. See, you know, that's because I trained you well, okay? See, and Kay and Atlas, they have matches, I believe, on YouTube, and I've seen them fight a couple times. Those are 2 great guys to learn from. If you have not learned from, these guys are giving back to the business and they're having fun doing it. Feeding, like, you know, as a big guy, you don't always have to wait for the 2 count. You know, if you're going against a small guy, if you're down, you can always kick out at 1. It depends on what it is. You shouldn't be bumping a lot, like Kay said. Like Kay said it already. You shouldn't bump a lot anyway. You know, if you can do a less is more thing, that works. But we can emphasize, you and your partner wrestler should emphasize on your size and how you incorporate that. Not only do you sell your size, but your opponent too. For example, if they're shooting you off for an Irish whip, it should take everything in their power to try to sling you over to the other side of the ring. You shouldn't just go as soon as they shoot you off. You know, you have to work it, or you have to try to work a spot or something like that. You have to emphasize that this is a big dude, and can't anybody just willy-nilly just shoot somebody that big over, especially if you're if that person is half your size. Emphasizing on that, selling on that. Moves. Kay says, Braun and I just had a huge conversation about big guys selling in the ring. I would like to know, you can message me or you can say what you guys talked about, because I would like to hear it. But emphasizing on selling, shooting people off, working a body part, or things like that. You know, if the big guy is in a headlock, you shouldn't have to punch your gut that much. He should obviously kind of shoot you off if he can, especially if he's a way bigger guy. You know what I'm saying? Selling the size. If you're working a body part, for example, if you're putting him in a half crab or whatever like that, or you're working on the leg, you know, eventually you can tire out because this is a big guy. This is a big leg that you're holding and stuff like that. Maybe you get tired and stuff like that. You can sell that kind of thing. You can emphasize that I'm using all my energy. I'm using more energy for a bigger guy than a smaller guy, to the fact I can't hold his leg up anymore in this lock. I can't do this. I can't do my move. Sometimes you can't even do your finisher to some guys because you're not strong enough to do it. And I'd say this, if you're not strong enough to do it, don't do it. Find something else to do. Find something else to do. But going back into the submissions and stuff like that, leg locks, certain things, you know, body slams, sell the body slam from the big person. If they hit you, you can sell that a little more. Even from the beginning, they hit you in the chest, sell it. Not being lazy and making, K-Man says not being lazy and making guys work for everything they do. Like you said, not being shot off with just one try, or even letting them shoot you off at all. That kind of thing. If they're trying to pick you up, have them struggle to pick you up instead of cooperating to pick you up. You have to sell your size, and you have to make sure they sell your size as well. Because 9 times out of 10, your opponent is just going to that's going to make them look strong at the end of the day, because they're already worrying about what's the next thing to do. I can't sit and shoot somebody off like a K, or even people can't just shoot me off sometimes. How are we going to do this? How are we going to incorporate that? How are we going to work together and stuff like that? Nowadays, people just go with emotions, and that's a hard thing to get over with wrestling and selling the size, because a lot of big guys are doing what some of the smaller guys are doing, and they don't have to. And I understand you want to be different. Nowadays, it's not even hard to be different because everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's doing the same thing. To the fact that, like, even some of the big, and I think one of the reasons why I don't see a lot of big guys in locker rooms no more is because they're not trying to do all that BS that they see. Oh, I want to do this. I want to slam you. Why do you want to slam me? What does that do for you at the end of the day? Like, that's your only bump. Now what? Then there's an attitude. Oh, you're just being hard. You're just being difficult. You're just being this. You're just being that. And I'm like, no, they have to protect your sides. You have to protect your sides. The promoter should see you and think of a million things to do. Treat you with respect, obviously. You know, I had a guy, Cell Block. He was 6'6", 400-some pounds. I was doing old school stuff. I called it a Cell Block challenge. It was a thing where guys would face him, and the only way you can win is either pinning him or body slamming, because I liked body slam challenges when I was younger. I always thought that was like a big thing to win. If a person was just so huge, they do a body slam challenge, and people would try their best to do it, and you either did it or you couldn't, or whatever like that. I'll let Lex Luger pass with that body slam he gave Yokozuna. I'll let him pass. But yeah, it got him. To me, it has to look like a legit body slam instead of I'ma just jump and stuff like that. You know, it's all about posting, and it's all about doing that kind of things. But yeah, going back into it, yeah, man, it's like I look at WWE. We'll go with them first, and I'm trying to think of like a lot of the bigger guys, and like you see like Lashley and all of that stuff. They do okay, but you see stuff like Omos, right? 1 second. K says selling on the move, especially with smaller guys. Every strike, don't sell it, but let it register and not kill you. Take that punch and move to get separation. So they can't continue you to pound on you in one spot. Because if a real fight mattered, no matter how big you are, if somebody hits you 15 times, you are eventually going down. And that was the thing too. I remember Angry Wrestling Vet. I remember he talked about it too. He was saying like, you know, this thing of no selling is just getting ridiculous. You know, even if a kid will punch you in the nose, your eyes are water and it'll hurt. You know, I think the thing of no selling, a lot of people want to just be a badass the whole time, excuse my language, but they think that you don't need to sell anything or whatever like that. But I'm like, no, if in a legit fight, if I'm going against a guy that's small, I don't want him hitting me in my face. I don't care how small he is. I don't care how big I am. Psychology part. You know, oh, I'm just not going to sell, oh, this and that. Oh, this is going to work. You know, you can work a couple times, but then when it's the big thing, it just sucks because it's like, oh, okay, we see what it is. You're trying to bully people with your weight. So hold on. That's like the crazy aspect of it with even the bigger guy. But when I look at WWE, I'm sorry, charge my phone. When you see like Omos, then you see like Commander Aziz, I believe I'm saying his name right. I don't know if they have like taller guys. I know they got like like muscle guys like Bobby and Brock from time to time and stuff like that. But you see these guys and it's just like, I don't want to say you see something missing. You know, Omar still needs work, obviously. Aziz, I don't see much of Aziz outside of when he was doing when they were doing Fight Club Raw Underground, and then when they brought him to go against Omos because it was a thing with Apollo Crews or whatever like that. And it's like that got a million views so quick. regardless of how you felt about these guys, that just showed you that fans like giants. They like big guys and stuff like that. And arm wrestling contests, those do millions of views so quick on YouTube, on WWE and stuff like that. You know, I'm not selfish at all. I'm super giving, and a lot of big guys think they can't sell because I got to protect my size. And that's the thing. Protecting your size does not mean that you don't bump or you're invincible. That's a misconception that a lot of people have when it comes to it. Now, if you don't want to bump, it's probably best to just say you don't want to bump. But if you don't have to bump for every match, maybe it's a story behind that. Oh, you're going for the title, you're going for a champ. Oh, okay. So you're building up for the champ to eventually knock him down because this big guy has not bumped for nobody since coming into the company. So he's not going to bump now. He's not going to bump now because they're building up a big moment and stuff like that. With the giants and stuff like that, especially even on the independent scene, there's not a lot of moments in the independent scene because there's not a lot of big shows like a WrestleMania or something, or Double or Nothing or All In or whatever like that, whatever you want to call it. It's not a lot of them out there. So a lot of smaller wrestlers want to body slam the big guy or whatever like that. But then again, the big guy goes to another show next week and then the next person wants to do it. So if they don't want to do it, that's okay. That's fine. Find something else to do. What can you do? What can you incorporate? We have to protect this person's size. You need to protect their size. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier, is that everybody wants to be tit for tat, and not everybody. Let me not say everybody. I don't want to generalize. Everybody want to go tit for tat, though. I said it again. A lot of people want to go tit for tat. All this for a "This is awesome" chant. You can get a "This is awesome" chant if you finally knock this big person over. If you finally knock somebody like me over, if I'm going against a smaller guy or whatever like that. Most modern big men are missing personality. That's what Atlas says. And I'm trying to find it. But you're not lying. With Omos, all right, you got MVP now. Okay. With Commander Aziz, you had Apollo. And, you know, they tried to do the Nigerian thing with Apollo, and they kind of canned it. It didn't really work that well. I know, like, Jinder Mahal, he's with this guy. I don't even know the guy's name. So I forgot his name. That's like on a WWE standpoint. Besides, what's his name? Quincy Elliott on NXT 2.0. Boy, they got him looking crazy. But other than that, like with the big guy, there's no emphasis on it except with Omos. And they're trying to do something with Omos and stuff like that. And it's like, I could say his match at WrestleMania Backlash is better than his WrestleMania match, but he still looks clunky. He still looks awkward. It is just like, you know, they have a lot of guys that could work better than that. Kay says, find something else, but I got to get my stuff in. Yeah, that's what it is. People come in already having ideas on what they want to do. And when you tell them, no, let's do something else. I don't know anything else. That's a red flag. That's a red flag. Sometimes it's best to call it in the ring. Sometimes somebody has an idea of what they want to do and you have to incorporate. And if it's a vet, you got to listen. It's best to listen to them because they can tell you something that'll make more sense. I used to be hard-headed, not all the time, but I used to be hard-headed to where I'd be like, I want to do this, and that. The vet would say, no, we just going to do this and watch what happened. We watched what happened. It worked. And I would say, hey, man, you were right. I'm sorry. Being humble like I'm supposed to be. Kay says, so right, Atlas. That's what got me booked with CYN as my character, personality and facials. Personality. And the thing is, not even just with big men, Atlas. It's with a lot of people. But with the big man, you have more focus on you, right? You have more attention on you because you catch an eye. Atlas. Hell, me, Kay, Ruthless Mike Wayne. I don't know if he's in the chat or not. Michael Wayne. You catch people's eyes with the size that you have. Sometimes it could be a gear and stuff like that, but sometimes with the natural size that you have, you catch people's eye. So What are you going to do with that attention? You already have them hooked. They're already on the line. You just got to reel them in. What are you going to do? How could you keep them entertained? If you're bumping everywhere, they're going to lose interest because you lost your believability. And that's another thing with personality, is that a lot of people lose their believability, especially on the big man. And then low key, it makes me upset a little bit. Don't forget Willie the Bomb. Willie the Bomb. Certified history maker, Willie the Bomb. Yes. Selling his size and dropping potatoes and leg drops and pounces. Pounce 316. Shout out to Willie, man. Hope you're doing all right. Hopefully somebody get this to you or whatever like that. Appreciate you. So, personality though. Great personality. Crowd love him. People pay to see him and everything like that. Believability is also an important factor with personality. I'm sorry. Believability and personality. It's always like a thing. If you're bumping, if you're the big guy, you're bump. People get turned off. For example, and I like the Big Show, right? Paul White. But he used to go to a spot to where the smaller person would punch him down to one knee, and then as soon as they kick his shoulder, he bump and pop up, bump and pop up, bump and pop up. And I'm like, stop! Don't do that. It used to be a big thing to when he was in WWE. It was a big in WCW. When he was in WWE, it was a big thing when people body slammed him or picked him up because it was impressive. It's actually easier to heal as a big man and come off believable if you know your character. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that too, because I feel like even like with the bigger men, and then you see things like Ernie, and see Atlas K. I've seen like a lot of people, I seem like they're just like a villain. Like they're unstoppable with it. It's like an extra hint of sauce, that perfect sauce, or Vader. And you see a lot of people doing these kind of things and they know how to work it. And they're now bumping a lot because they're smart. They're ring generals. They know exactly how to work the crowd to where the part where somebody finally does get knocked down, it's a big moment. Crowd will go crazy and they eat that up. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, with wrestling, it is easy to, not I won't say easy, but you have to find that personality. Like I said, going even back to the big man argument and stuff like that, you have to make sure that you sell your size. And even then, sometimes some of the biggest men are like the best storytellers. Like even with like Big Show, if you slammed the Big Show at WWE, the crowd would be wild. Remember when Cesaro did it at the Under the Giant Battle Royal? He like low key like hoisted him, and the crowd went crazy for it. I remember when Rick Lawn, formerly known as Ezekiel, he body slammed Big Show one week, and then the following week he gave him a suplex, and it was still impressive and stuff like that. Sometimes doing that kind of stuff that shows strength, but it also elevates you and stuff. I wouldn't say that it eventually elevated Ezekiel. He did win the Intercontinental Championship against Wade Barrett, but I'm just saying, like usually going against a big man and beating them or picking them up, that means something big. When Batista went against Kane, I believe Batista was feuding with Triple H for his first title, for the World Heavyweight title, and Kane was this unstoppable monster at one point. You know, everybody was scared. This guy can't do this, and they made it feel like, you know, he can feel pain like a damn zombie. Eventually, when Batista got him off of the Batista bomb, that made it seem like Batista was legit because he won. And then even Triple H's facials and selling that, like, dang, he beat Kane and stuff like that. Even Bobby Lashley and Big Show. Big Show was the ECW champion when they had WWE ECW. We'll call it that. When Bobby would spear him, people was like, what? He won? And then he gave him a running power slam, and even the stuff against Umaga and stuff like that. Some of these big guys giving big rubs to these guys to show like these guys are legit. A lot of people can't say they did this. At that point, a lot of people can't say they beat Kane. Well, a lot of people can, but you get what I'm saying, before he went corporate and stuff. But it's like a big moment and stuff. And it was kind of similar to with like Wardlow when he power bombed William Morrissey. I hope I'm saying his name right, because that guy is tall. He's like super duper tall. You get what I'm saying? And for him to do that, and then he was like power bombing a lot of big guys and stuff, and he was making it look easy. Kay says, so many guys don't know how to work on the fly, and they get lost. Prime example, I worked Blizzard Brawl a few months ago against Val Venus. He didn't want to call anything. He didn't want to call anything that was his first match in a while, and it was the first time his kids were getting to see him work live, and he just wanted to feel it, and I was cool with it. The match before went too short, and the agent said, I know we told you 10 minutes, but I need 15 to 20 out of you right before we went out. I said, no problem. I told Val that. He said, kid, I want to be blown up. Just walk us to the ring. We got out there and started working, and he got blown up quick. So I slapped the rest hold on and told him, just breathe, brother. We aren't moving until you're ready and the crowd's ready. He just kind of looked at me and gave me the look like he was in good hands. That's what we have to do sometimes. You know, a lot of moves and mess ups happen because people try to hurry up and do something. I got to be here. But what happens if you bump over here? What are you going to do if you were intended to go over here, but you went over there, or your opponent went over there? You can do a rest spot. You can do a lockup. You can do certain things. You can talk to the ref. That's what the ref is for. That's what the ref is for. There are things that were called in my match that I didn't want to do. Cobra and dive out spot. And the referee told me. And it was clear. Communication is key. You know, you can spread the whole thing out. You don't have to do move for move. You don't have to run. You don't have to do everything. If you work well, you have no problem doing that. And I think the thing is, especially what people are doing, and maybe even how people are trained, is that people think that it's just cool to just move, double down. And Addis talked about that. And even Shonda, Sensational Shay, I love you, baby, wherever you at. So beautiful. But anyway, she talked about it. She said, like, it's an overemphasis on the double down. And I thought about it, and she was right. It's so much emphasis to where there's no rest spots. There's nothing. There's rarely anything. It's like we're just gonna he'll just beat up face and then double down and face comes back. Now that's like the standard blueprint of the thing, but you can incorporate other things. For example, if you are a big guy, you might not need to do that double down spot on the face spot. You might not need to. You feed straight up because what they did, maybe it was a work of arm or working a certain thing. Sometimes you don't need to do that. Sometimes you can just come in as a house of fire. I can't remember the last match I had. We did a traditional double down. This is what Kay is saying. So you get what I'm saying? Double downs is like, I'm trying to say it right. It's like some people sprinkle in their matches for that "this is awesome" chant, because sometimes, like I said, somebody can say this is awesome, and by the time they go to their car, they forgot everything in that match. Sometimes you want something that's going to stick to your ribs, like tacos, greasy tacos, if you will. Ooh, tacos. But anyway, you want things to stay with them sometimes to the point where they wake up, man, that was a great match. I'm glad I came over here and stuff like that. Sometimes the double down is not needed. Sometimes you're trying to see, you're seeing this person become a house of fire. This person is becoming unstoppable and stuff like that. But then when it's double down, you are trying to make it level and level. Now, I'm not saying that double downs need to go away. What I'm saying is a lot of people do them and they incorporate it into their match. That's all I'm saying. Alice says it's actually easier to, okay, I think I said that. Now you can have a big man back match and both bump. I did it with Kay and Abyss. So yeah, And even that, like you said, me and Kay bumped each other like crazy. So did Abyss and I. And even then, but that's still selling your size at the end of the day. Like that's selling because these are two monsters on both sides. Y'all are nice, but y'all are monsters. Both you and Kay. Love y'all. But anyway, that's like the only way. That should be like one of the only way, unless maybe you're trying to sell a leg injury or something, or maybe a head injury, or maybe if the match is like no holds barred, anything goes. If you want to do something like that, anywhere falls matches and stuff like that. Now you could say that it's somewhat, I don't want to say even playing field, but now you have gimmicks and objects and stuff that you can use to take somebody out or whatever like that. You get what I'm saying? But like for a traditional match, no. You don't need to bump that crazy. Like why you don't need to bump crazy. You don't. And like I said, like the people who are listening now and the ones who are commenting like Kay and Atlas, these are two of the most intelligent people in the ring. Like literally, you guys should really talk to these guys if they want to talk. I don't want to put these people on y'all, but like I said, like just talking to them. I remember Kay, I don't remember if you remember this, but we was at a PPW. There was a time where all three of us was there. We were talking about somebody, and that person was doing arm drags and was taking arm drags, and it was a big person doing arm drags. So we talked about that like after the match. And then I remember you saying, yeah, you don't have to do that. All you have to do is like sell your size and stuff like that. You don't have to do that. And then I remember Kay, you told me that you used to know how to do, I don't know if you still do, but you say you used to do drop kicks. And you said that you can do a drop kick still, but you don't have to. You don't need to, So that goes into another point. Just because you can doesn't mean you shall. That does not mean that because you can do it, that you should do it. Hey, if you want to do it like maybe once in a blue moon, cool. But when it becomes your moveset, Beta was doing moonsaults, but he wasn't doing them every show. You hold it down on that. You can do it for special occasions and stuff like that. But nowadays you're seeing, like I said, you're seeing big men doing lucha spots. Don't get me wrong, I ain't gonna lie. I've done some things that I've been like, man, I shouldn't have did that. Why did I do this? Trust me, I've done it. Why did I bump for that? Why did I do this? So it's I understand, and as I'm continuing to still trying to grow, you said if you can, you should limit it. Yep. To maximize the impact. Yep. And then you can tease it. You tease it like, dang, will we see it today? Will we see that? People will pay tickets and you hype that up like it's a big thing. It's a big movement or whatever like that. I remember people was going crazy when what's his name? Pop was doing like the red arrow because it was like a sight to see or whatever like that. Or a certain wrestler, it's another wrestler that used to do a move and people wanted to see it so bad. And it was something, I forgot what it was. But it was like people just wanted to see it and they would tease it or whatever like that. It works. Kay says, I'm always down to help and give anyone advice. Yep, there are a million moves I can do that I don't because it makes no sense for me to do it. And that's the thing. It's like, what sense? And I always think that. And it's like in my mind when I'm talking to a wrestler or whatever like that. And like I said, I'm learning too now still. Still a student in the game 10 years later. I'll be like, okay, this ain't gonna work. I'm gonna have to do this. I'm gonna have to do that. Let's do it like this. How about this? I don't say no offense because you're really gonna get offended if I say no offense. But some things you can just take away. You know what's rare? A big man, technical wrestling. Yeah, that's why I was like, Braun Strowman will like tease it. Going against a bigger guy, I was like the Big Show or something like that. They chained for a little bit or something like that. But yeah, as far as like technical, I haven't seen much. I'm trying to think of a big man using besides Batista and that Batista bite. Uh, he also said big men using a submission. Yeah, last big dude I really saw, big dude using a move as a submission was, and I could be wrong, I might have saw another one, was Mark Henry with the bear hug. And then there's Hobbs who does Powerhouse Hobbs. Powerhouse. He does the torture rack. But yeah, I remember like Mark Henry used to look like he was killing you with that, or even Great Khali's claw move. I used to like when he did the claw, the double claw. I used to like that actually. I thought he actually killed Rey Mysterio one time. There's some, yeah. Wasn't it like a Cobra clutch or something like that? It was like a slam into the Cobra clutch. I like that. You're gonna have to show me that. Not saying I'm gonna steal it, but it was something like a Cobra clutch, right? Oh yeah. Yeah. It was like a slam in a Cobra clutch. I think so. I'm not 100% sure. I don't want to just say what it. Case Case says the Canadian Destroyer used to be one of those moves. Now, yeah, that's a good example, Kay. The Canadian Destroyer was one of those moves that when it first came out, people was like, this is the craziest thing they've ever seen, right? And then Petey Williams, like, people was thirsty to see this because he was the only one doing it. Yep, that's what I thought it was. Yep, Cobra clutch, leg sweep, and I hold on. I that move. I like that move. I remember that. But Canadian Destroyer was one of those sights to see because only one person was doing it at one time. It was one person doing it. But now, like you said, it's now a punch. It's now a chaining or whatever like that. When Petey Williams did it because it was only one person, it was special. And even then, some people were very upset with it because the psychology in it. But if you can make it work, you can make it work. But now everybody and their mama do it. Cole was doing it on NXT. Now he does it on AEW. Is it the Panama Sunrise? Cody Rhodes. Goldust does it sometimes on the apron for some reason. Other people do it. Independent scene, you see it a lot. It's just an overused move, but it used to be something so special to see. Even Ricky Morton from the Rock and Roll Express do it. Y'all ain't never seen him do it before? Y'all ain't never seen Ricky Morton do it? He did it on AEW, and then there was a couple independent shows he was doing it. Now, he needs to be assisted with it, but he did do it. So Jamie says the ideal big man has changed so much that they had an evolution that they seem more faster, more agile. Well, I think the thing more agile and has totally changed the game. And that's the thing. The game doesn't need to be changed. Like it don't need to be, especially for the big man or whatever, because my take on it is stand up for believability. And nowadays you'll stand out more because you're believable. You're not believable doing dive outs and doing all of this stuff. Like maybe only a few people should do that, but not the big man every time or whatever like that. Okay, so I'm old and I just flat out tell guys I'm not doing that, and it makes no sense. But it's true. You don't need to do it. What's the point? And then it's a possibility you can hurt yourself. It's a cooperation move. You can't just go willy-nilly and jumping over somebody and expect them to just do a backflip like that. It ain't gonna work. I tease it in matches just to pop the crowd, but I never hit it. It's my flare bump spot. See? And that's you reeling them in. You're reeling them in. It's like, oh my God, they're gonna do something crazy. I got to see him do it in person at a show. I was on with him. Yeah, that's how I'll be like, hey, do you know what this is? Like, are you sure you can do that? Like, do you know how much work has to be put into that for you to perform that? Atlas says you can turn little-ish into something big, like a drop toe hold. Oh, yeah. and actually make it a whole. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was trying to see how I could, if I could. I need to work out to do like to hold it. I don't know. I'm thinking too big. I'm thinking too much on it. Cause I was thinking about that. Cause I'd always be like, cause me and D'Angelo Steele, we make fun of drop toe holds. Cause we like that we made a Trouble in drop toe hold. And you know how the Trouble in Paradise is, he does the turn into the kick, but you do the turn into the drop toe hold and stuff like that. And I would like sell it like super big. But I've always been like, why don't people do the drop toe hold and hold it? I mean, you have them right there, just applying pressure to the leg and even to the hind part. So yeah, I'm gonna have to bring that out. We'll have to, or I could show you how. Yep, I'm interested. Kay says, I got to see him. Oh, okay, he said it already. Okay, so, but yeah, that's how. Like even the state of wrestling, like the whole thing is like changing to the point to where the big men, that was just like the big thing to see. And it was an attraction. You get what I'm saying? Now I'm the biggest guy in a lot of the locker rooms. And I'm not saying it as a complaint. Like, who am I to be like, hey, you guys should grow or I should get shorter or something like that. So it's like I am understanding what a lot of people have told me since I first started about selling your size, protecting your size. You don't have to do this. You got to get up. You got to emphasize. Emphasis is very important. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't emphasize, like I said, about shooting a big man off or trying to pick them up, or even when you're trying to pin them, when you actually do a move on them and trying to turn them over. Like, it should be a difficult task to try to push them over for a pin or whatever like that. Not even a cooperation thing, a move. Sometimes you can't hold their leg or their arm or their body as great as you can because, you know, of their size and stuff like that. And even if you can, emphasize to make it seem like and show people that it's a struggle. Standing tall, yes. Posture, yes. I had a posture problem. I stand tall sometimes. But James says, one moment I'll never forget was when Big Show debuted and put Austin through the cage, just like Wardlow just did. Yeah. Well, Wardlow, I think they're doing a good job with it on an AEW standpoint, on the big guy and stuff like that. I actually like Lance Archer. I don't like some of the things that he do, but I kind of see like how they have him in the position in the company and stuff. And I shook my head when he did do the backflip and hurt himself. And then even then, like I said, like even Undertaker, right? Undertaker, Mean Mark and stuff. This man was tightrope walking and stuff like that as Mean Mark Callis and stuff like that. So, and when he was teaming, I forgot who he was teaming with. Forgive me. But he was doing some things too. But then it was like he slowed it down. It wasn't something that you continue to see or whatever like that, or the spectacle and stuff. But then with Old School, you would love to see Old School. And then when he slowed down his wrestling schedule, it's a blessing to see it because you're scared he's gonna turn into Thanos dust by the time he hits the mat. But going back into even like the big man thing, right? I don't want to say it's disrespected, but I want to say like it's kind of pushed to the side. I want to say, think about it. Titles, when world titles, what was in their name? World Heavyweight Championship, WWE Heavyweight Championship, WCW Heavyweight Championship, TNA Heavyweight Championship. Hold on. Lance is okay. They build him up just to get beat. Yeah, I agree. And that's why I was saying about his position, his position in the company. Eventually you have a Texas death match with him, and that's how your feud ends. I've talked about that like one time about like some wrestlers have signature matches, but a lot of them do. So that's a waste of a monster. Yeah, I agree. And the thing is, he be on Dark. You know, a lot of people was upset about Booker T's comments about Dark, but hey. But look at the title situation, right? A lot of titles, they changed. They don't even say heavyweight title anymore. It was even WWE. who has big guys winning the belts. It's either WWE title or Universal title. They don't say WWE heavyweight. They don't say heavyweight. A lot of companies don't say heavyweight anymore because they don't consider top title as like the heavyweight title as top class. I don't want to say anymore, but that's just the way of everything has changed, right? Things have changed. Now women are the top champ at companies and stuff like that. It's just like a whole new landscape. So now it's like you don't need to say heavyweight title. You could just say title because anybody can challenge for the title, regardless of how much they weigh, what gender they are, what they represent, how they were born, anything like that. So the whole thing is even changed. But when I was coming up, that was a big thing to say you're the world heavyweight champion because the belt had heavyweight. I remember when Chris Sabin beat Bully Ray for the TNA heavyweight title, and it looked like a backpack on him the way he used to wear it. That's another thing, another live about how people wear titles that I hate. But yeah, and I remember I used to talk to a guy and he used to hate that because he'd consider him a cruiserweight and not a heavyweight, but they'd give him the belt. I know dang well they ain't calling me. But that's my dog barking. But hold on, my live is interrupted. Okay. But yeah, even belts are different. Belts are very different now. And they don't even say heavyweight belt. You know, only time you see like heavyweight is if weight classes for like boxing and MMA and stuff like that. I'm sorry, the doorbell threw me off. This is my family. But not saying I let them in, they in now. But it's so different now. It's like they don't even say heavyweight. It says the proper way to use a big man monster is when you're looking to build your next great face. He's the one that should be beating a legit heavyweight. Now I agree. And that's what I was bringing up with how they did Batista when he was feuding with Triple H for the world heavyweight title, that he beat, how he defeated Kane. I believe it was a hey, calm down. I'm going live. I'm about to let you out in a little bit. I'm almost done. But yeah, like even Batista beating Kane the way he did. And it was I believe it was a pretty short match back in the day. It was a shocking thing to see because Kane was like insane Kane or whatever, senile Kane, set people on fire and being dangerous and stuff like that. Unmasked Kane, if you will. And it was just a shocking thing to even see him get picked up for a powerbomb the way Batista did it with ease and stuff like that. We're talking about Wardlow. Wardlow going against William Morrissey. I'm saying this name wrong. That's good. Build up. He went against the Butcher. How they did that. And even the cage match. Even though Shawn Spears isn't like a big guy. But yeah, I agree with that. Body slamming a big guy or defeating a big guy was something special. Bobby Lashley with his ECW run, beating Big Show or whatever like that. That was just a sight to see. Brock Lesnar when he was going against Big Show for the title when he finally lost, because Paul Heyman had to be a part of it. Those kind of things are what it's a stepping stone, and it worked well. I'm not going to sit here and say everything worked well, but that is one of those things to be like, oh, okay, if you could beat a guy who rarely leaves his feet or don't have a lot of losses, then you can definitely do something with it. And with the current state of wrestling, it's hard to see it on any standpoints because everybody wants to wrestle the same. Everybody works so hard to try to get that "this is awesome" chant. And then psychology and legitimacy and believability, all of that leaves the window because you're just trying to hurry up and just get people's attention and stuff. And it's to the point to being like having a big man, even a woman, for example, love Awesome Kong. Like love Awesome Kong. How they would do things and stuff like that. She wasn't bumping for everybody. I should have had on my panel. Forgive me, y'all. She wasn't bumping for everybody or whatever like that. But nowadays, everybody wants that teeter-totter, eventually the giant or the big man fall. And everybody don't deserve that. And I mean that because with wrestling, it's big men. I don't want to say big. I don't want to say what Big E say, but it's literally big men beating up each other and stuff like that. Majority of the time. Now I'm becoming a bigger guy. I'm standing up tall and everything, and I'm looking at stuff and seeing how things goes and everything like that, and protecting my size and everything like that, because it's very important to protect your size. Protect your size, protect who you are. You get what I'm saying? And like I said, I'm reading off of a lot of the big guys who helped me with me in my career. What up, Abomination AJ? If you guys have not, I'm going to give him another shout out. Please follow and subscribe to his YouTube channel. He talks about a lot of things, as my dogs is singing. Talks about a lot of things with comics, social media, and everything. He has great points and everything like that. I subscribed to him a couple months ago. True legit person, and my dog agree. Those were okay builds, but go back further like Sting and Vader. Sting and Vader going back and forth, and Sting hitting him with the 2x4, and I don't know. I was just thinking about this one, and Vader didn't know which way to go because he didn't know where Sting was coming, and he kind of was selling the 2x4. Yeah, those were some great matches that I'm going to go back and watch, though, with Sting and Vader. The way they used to trade victories and stuff like that, and Sting used to bleed a lot. I remember Do-Rag Vader. Y'all don't remember Do-Rag Vader? One of the matches him and Sting had, they had Vader had his mask on with the do-rag on. That's probably gonna be my StreamYard emoji from now on. I gotta find it on Andre and Hogan. The build up for Andre and Hogan, it's so special. But nowadays, everybody is trying to copy and paste that. And that's what I was saying for matches now, is that everybody wants to try to hurry up and pick up the big guy. Like I said, I think his name is Quincy Elliott on NXT 2.0. He's like the guy that wears a blouse or something. He bumps for everything. And he got body slammed by somebody. And it's just like, oh, why is this special? Only because the crowd likes the guy who body slammed him. But other than that, it could have been like a great moment eventually, if you know how to work it and push it. That's my dog, my baby calling me. Huh? Hey, baby. But anyway, Vader had a 24-month run Destroyer as champion. Yeah, WCW, they treated that man legit. Now, WWF, WWE, it was a shame. It was criminal. And they brought him in pretty good. They had him. He was Vader bombing, Vader splashing bombing Gorilla Monsoon and stuff like that. You know, WCW, they treated him legit and everything like that. Like, he was very believable as an unstoppable monster, his punches and all of that stuff. But the feud he had with Sting, I know Sting and him and I forgot who else was talking. They was at the table for three, you know, that series that WWE used to do. They talked about a lot of these stuff. But yeah, Vader was just one of those ones, and I like Vader. I'm actually going to study some more of some of his stuff. Give me that. I'm going to study some more of his stuff when I get the time, hopefully on Monday or whatever like that. But yeah, if you can do a build up with a big guy, like, it works so great. It could work great. Nowadays, it's hard to see. Now I gotta body slam the big guy because I want to show you that I'm strong. I faced big guys. I faced a guy cell block. I never slammed him. He offered, but I'm like, no, I don't want to. You know, you can protect. You know, we can do other things. Like, sometimes I challenge myself, or I challenge the people that I go against, because I'm like, what can we do different? Because people are expecting this to happen. What can I do different from what everybody else is doing? As my daughter's giving me stuff. Well, Stan Henson. I'm meant to talk about him. I had to study more on him. Hey, I had to study more on him. I'm not even on the lie. It's been a while, but I know John Bullard, he talks about Stan Hansen a lot. But I know who you're referring to. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I got to get back to my study game. I've been working out. I've been doing more stuff now. I'm trying to eat healthy. I'm trying to be buff, but my mind keeps saying buffet. Trying to be buff, but my mind keeps saying buffet. I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying, man. Like, food is so good, but I'm trying to work back out. I'm trying to take care of myself and everything like that. I've been working on traps. I've been doing a whole bunch of stuff. I just been trying to work so hard, trying to do better and trying to do more studying and stuff like that. And I sit here and I be making fun of people studying the same people, but I need to go back to my study game as well. But on that note, I have been talking for an hour and 21 minutes. Shout out, and everybody's busy, so I'm gonna let everybody go. Thanks to Cam Jerome, Atlas, of course, Kay, Backwoods, Jamie. Shout out to Abomination. Shout out to everybody that's Jamie. Shout out to everybody that's commented, liked, shared. Make sure you subscribe to the Take It Home podcast on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to C3 Ultimate Wrestling on YouTube. Check out the website. Also, June 18th, Kingdom Come. We will return. I hope you guys enjoyed the live. Let's bring back the State of the Big Man because we need it. We need it for legitimacy and everything like that. You will be surprised. You can actually sell tickets for these kind of things. And I am going to show you how. Pay attention. This is Chris Classic. Let's take it home.